So Lift Fund is a community development financial institution, which means we're mission-led. So we are looking for minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned businesses to lend to. We've been in business 28 years. We lend loans as small as $1,000 up to $500,000, and then we have an SBA 504 product that goes all the way up to $5.5 million. But because we're a community partner, because we have over 100 community partners that we work with diligently every day, we also work with municipalities to extend grant programs. So we just worked with Harris County and deployed over $30 million to small businesses. So we have a lot of unique opportunities. So one thing is that we provide capital. The other is that we provide business resources. So Robert talked about some of those businesses that are not quite ready to move into the traditional banking space. Then we work with you hand in hand through that process of looking at your business plan, looking at your financial, partnering with organizations like the Bridge Path to make sure that your credit is where it needs to be so that you can be capital ready and lending ready. Capacity is really the number one, and we have worked with so many organizations thinking that it was really credit, and then we get the credit north of 700, and then we realize you don't have the capacity to take on any additional debt. So I think if you don't get anything else, really approach your business based on expanding your capacity to take on reasonable and responsible debt. I think that's something that kind of demystifies the whole process. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. So how do you set your business up so that when you go in front of a lender, they know you, they know your passion, they know that you know your industry, they know that you are the expert in whatever it is that your business is, right? So they know you and they know that you know what you're talking about. They like you, you're personable, you're able to articulate and pitch. I have a client that raises about $300,000 a year just in pitching. So make sure that you're likable, right? And then also that we can trust you. So what that means is that when we're looking at you on paper, before we even see you, right, and shake your hand, if we're looking at you on paper, you don't have NSFs, you don't have any federal obligations, you don't, for the last 6 months, right, you haven't made $4 million and spent $399,000, right? So that we can trust that when we extend this grace to you, can we extend this loan to you, that you know exactly what to do with it. And that's what I see, not just in minority businesses, but just in businesses in general. We can't beat you dreaming, but you need to be able to articulate it so that we know, like, and trust you. I agree with everything that Constance just said. For CDFIs specifically, and I didn't say this because I didn't have the opportunity, but for CDFIs, we raise our money and we borrow our money, right? So that's how we don't accept any deposits. We raise our money and we borrow our money at a lower interest rate to be able to lend. So the lending practices that you talk about are absolutely necessary to keep the integrity of the program, right? So that we can help. We've loaned over $400 million to businesses that look just like you for 28 years. We've helped over 25,000 businesses, but there has to be risk models in place to make sure that we can continue to do what we do, right? But specifically as it relates to JPMorgan Chase in terms of what Amanda said and Robert said, putting their money where their mouth is, the Ascend National Program is for Black and brown businesses. That program is not a lending program. That's a program that really looks at 3 pillars. Getting you management education, to what Constance talked about, getting you market opportunities, so you have customers and contracts to be resilient and stay in business and create generational wealth. And then the money piece really is last after you've done the other 2. Because if you can master the management education and you know how to respond to RFP, you know what's a non-starter, you know what contracts to say yes to and no to. You have that social capital to be in the rooms, but you're prepared to pitch when you shake that hand and you only have 30 seconds. That program is a 2-year program. We wrap our arms around you. So one of the things that we have not done so well is create an ecosystem where you can plug in where you are. We meet you where you are, but we don't lose sight of you. Constance just talked about 10 come asking, and then 1 comes back. Okay, where are those other 9? How do we become more of servant leaders to go out into the community and create that ecosystem so that, again, you can plug in where you are, but we don't leave you where you are? But I absolutely agree that if we're extending that olive branch, right? JPMorgan Chase gave Live Fund $1.25 million to stand up this program. We've generated now $20 million in 18 months in businesses that look just like you. But it's intentional. Because we understood when I was hired for this program and then got promoted to my role, but I understood because I'm a 3rd-generation entrepreneur. So I have a lending hat, but I have an entrepreneurial heart. So I understand after I saw my mom and dad start and sell and fail in 14 businesses. So I get it. We have to be intentional about, again, making sure that you have market opportunities, the management education, the team built around you, and the capital will come.
Sure.
So what we also do is, because we have tons of products, so we also look at the product that's best for you. So if there's a lower rate available, maybe it's a funder, to Robert's point, that just says, I want to lend to women of color in a certain industry. The rate may be 3%, up to $50,000. So we always look at the products that we have available and then guide you towards whatever product makes sense.
For more information, visit b3elevation.com.